NTA International News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo optimistic that work on Namadi International Airport runway will be completed as scheduled. House of Representatives to pass 2017 budget after Easter break. And as Technology Expo ends in Abuja, Minister says the foundation for technological development of Nigeria has been laid. Plus, South Africa appears before International Criminal Court, insists not obliged to arrest Sudanese president. Thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International. I am Shegun Lawole. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed optimism that the work on the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport runway will be completed as scheduled. This was while inspecting the level of work done at the airport. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It is exactly 4 weeks since the airport runway closure and work began in earnest. The contractors handling the rehabilitation project gave 6 weeks for the completion of work, and Nigerians, especially travelers using the airport, could not wait to see the resumption of flights. Vice President Osinbajo was briefed by the contractors on details of the project and the extent of work done. The Vice President, who says promises are sacred and that Nigerians must not be disappointed, inspected the runway, taking note of every detail, including the quality of work done.
Looking at all of this myself, inspecting it, and listening to the consultants, listening to the contractors, listening to the personnel from FAN and the Ministry of Aviation, Ministry of Transport. I think that a lot of work has gone in here. The contractors who are doing shifts in 24-hour shifts, they're working round the clock literally. I think they've taken the job very seriously indeed, and we expect to see that this will be done and completed by the 19th as they had promised.
The Vice President was accompanied by the management of the Federal Airport Authority, led by the Managing Director, Saleh Dunoma.
The total summary of all the activities that is going on here is 80% completion, and that indicates that we are on good timing as far as the schedule of completion is concerned, so we are going to complete on time.
I think this is good. Nigeria can handle any problem if we put our mind to it. So I want to encourage those who are doing this to keep doing the right thing.
Vice President also took a tour of the airport to assess the level of work on ongoing projects. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And also legislative matters. The Technical Advisory Committee on a Bill for an Act to repeal the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency NEMA has submitted its report to the Senate Committee on Works. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports that the report highlights global best practices to remove the bottlenecks associated with road maintenance in Nigeria.
The Technical Advisory Committee TAC was set up to review submissions of a public hearing on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency and reenact the Federal Roads Authority. The chairman, Chris Okoye, said the report is divided into 4 parts covering private sector participation, regulation and administration.
And they're going to have, of course, a regulatory body that is going to be called something. But I am sure that there's another body that is working on the issue of the regulatory body.
The Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Works, Clifford Odia, said the recommendations will be studied, promising that improvement of roads in Nigeria remains a priority.
On behalf of the Senate Committee on Works, let me welcome the Technical Advisory Committee to this and to request the Chairman of that committee to now make a formal report.
The Senate Committee held a public hearing last year during which the views of experts were collated on the bill to manage federal road network for safety of people's movement and the delivery of goods and services in the country. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
We sincerely apologize for the unstable picture in some parts of that report. And still on legislative matters, the House of Representatives says it will pass the 2017 budget after its Easter break. The Chairman House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Abdulrazak Namdas, stated these were briefing National Assembly correspondent. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Abdulrazak Namdas explained that work on the 2017 budget is almost completed.
We are working very seriously on this budget, and hopefully we will pass this budget when we are back from the Easter break.
He commended the efforts of the President in addressing the challenges of pensioners as presented by the Ministers of Budget and National Planning and Finance. He said the legislature will continue to engage the executive on issues of national importance.
If there are other issues that we feel is also going to be helpful, we will not hesitate to invite relevant ministries or agencies so that Nigerians will hear directly from them.
And to Public Accounts Committee, where the Auditor General of the Federation raised a query against the Nigerian Air Force in 2010 for making payments amounting to 1.9 million naira in checks instead of e-payments at the Nigerian Air Force Station, Calabar. The Chief of Accounts and Budget at the headquarters of the Nigerian Air Force, Clement Obeche, responded to the query.
The payments were the first salaries due to the non-commissioned officers after graduation from training. As at the time the payments were made, the soldiers' individual salary account numbers were not yet available from the various banks. Being fresh graduates who had no other source of income, it became incumbent on the unit to act in the manner that it did.
So therefore discharge you, Nigerian Air Force, and then we hope to see you again in the very near future to answer to your 2011, 2012, up to 2015 queries.
The committee, however, implored them to encourage service delivery by public officers in the line of duty, as the military is noted for the promotion of discipline and execution of work. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And away from legislative matters, concerned groups in Nigeria have joined the rest of the world to mark this year's World Health Day, which focuses on depression, with advocacy on more awareness and political will in addressing the ill trend. Justin Bemuyi brings us highlights of some of the events to commemorate the day in Abuja.
The celebration was in line with the 2017 World Health Day theme, Let's Talk About Depression, which also highlights a recent report by WHO that more than 300 million people are now living with depression globally. Given this urgency to focus on this global mental health challenge, the National Open University of Nigeria joins the rest of the world to raise a voice on the need to adequately sensitize people on the challenge.
I think the best thing that education sector will do is to accept its role as local parents. Education is supposed to provide a cover, a mental, psychological cover for the students so that the students will be able to learn peacefully and effectively.
We decided to key into this program and more importantly the theme in order to get people better informed about what depression is all about, and also to help stimulate people's interest in seeking help.
You know, you can't deal with what you don't know. And yet, that which you don't know may be a reality. So we need to uncover that, the myth, you know, around mental health issues so that we can deal effectively with that.
Similarly, the Universal Peace Federation convened an assembly of like minds to dialogue on this year's World Health Day's theme, with a view to mobilizing action around prevention, treatment and management of those with depression.
We need to continue to advocate for policies to strengthen the family.
Experts identified environmental and biological risk factors as major causes of depression, advocating more awareness and improved research information to address the menace. In Abuja, Justin Bemuyi, NTA News.
As the 2017 Technology Expo ends in Abuja, Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, says the groundwork has been done for the commencement of technological development in Nigeria. Science correspondent Kirian Umayo reports that over 200 exhibitors and inventors attended the 5-day event.
The event represents the gathering of Nigeria's intellectual community, involving universities, technical colleges, secondary and primary schools, all the 17 agencies under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, individual inventors, corporate bodies, and investors from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Dr. Bonayano is optimistic.
It is the spirit of adventure that nurtures creativity, which fires innovation as a driving force in opening new frontiers. We should never forget that adventure is the manure that nurtures creativity to thrive and blossom.
Chairman, Assessment and Award Subcommittee, Professor Peter Onwalo, commended exhibitors and recommended selected ones for various awards. Some of the exhibitors speak.
It is a successful story. You can see the attendance, the current innovation in Naseni, inventions in all sectors, agricultural implement, electrical, electronic products, automations, aviation sector, so many.
Automated aquaculture system. It's a system where the feeding is done by automated, and also the water is made to recycle automatically.
It's been 5 days of a total exhibition of Nigeria's intellectual resources, from nanotechnology to quantum science. We've seen so many projects as presented by universities, laboratories, research institutes, and individuals who have been here for 5 days to display their intellectual property. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
Now from the presidency comes the report that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reconstitution of boards of 19 agencies and parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Education for a period of 4 years. This is pursuant to his powers under the law establishing the parastatals under the Ministry of Education. And similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of a new governing board for the Nigerian National Merit Award. The new board has Professor Shekarau Yakubu Aku as chairman, while Professor Sheikh Ahmed Abdallah, Professor Muhammad Hassan, Professor Joseph Andy, Professor Adele Jinadu, Professor Andrew Nock, Professor Laz Ekweme are members. A statement from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation said the appointment, which takes effect from March 27, 2017, is for a period of 3 years. This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. We shall be back with more stories after the break. Do stay with us.
The Victory Chapel is a place of worship and fellowship for all indigenous of Imo State. This architectural masterpiece was designed by Governor Rochas with the intention that prayers are made for Imo State at the seat of power. The Victory Chapel can sit 3,000 people and is a testament to the rescue mission's goal for a better Imo. Here at the chapel, there is victory for everyone. The Imo Rescue Mission. Imo must be better.
Good to have you join us again. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOAA, Garba Abari, has tasked accountants in public service on the need to enhance their information and communication technology skills and remain professionals in the discharge of their duties. He stated this at a seminar for staff of the agency's Finance and Accounts Department on attitudinal change in the accounting profession and contemporary issues in public finance management.
Part of the problems that Nigerians have with public servants is actually the very lackadaisical attitude, the laid-back attitude of the fact that government's job is nobody's job. Many of the persons in the finance department need to improve their IT savviness, because in the 21st century you cannot afford to be analog.
NOAA's Director of Finance and Accounts, Balabi Gambo, noted that imbibing the right attitude entails adherence to ethical code of conduct, especially in view of the accrual basis of accounting recently introduced by the federal government. Turning to agriculture, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, has launched a $62 million long-term strategy for the Lake Chad region, with emphasis on improving food security and nutrition in the region. Musa Baba Aliu reports that the Director General of the organization, Hussein Da Silva, says the initiative is targeting refugees and internally displaced persons in the northeast.
The activities of Boko Haram has displaced thousands of farming communities in northeastern part of Nigeria and the Lake Chad Basin, a development that hampered access to agricultural lands and assets, creating massive humanitarian needs in an area already struggling with environmental challenges that have been affecting their food production. The long-term strategy for the Lake Chad region launched by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations put a special emphasis on supporting refugees, internally displaced families, and host communities. The interventions are geared towards improving food security and nutrition, and also to pave the way for the recovery and peace in the affected areas.
We need to restore the livelihood for these people come back to their homes, for these people have condition to come back to production and not live only on food assistance.
So the direct response by the FAO is a very, very welcome development, because once we create jobs, once we engage youth, this madness will evaporate.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Adogbe, said the federal government is supporting all the states in the northeast part of the country on food security and promised that support will be given to the FAO initiative.
Let each one of us make an investment in agriculture in our communities. It is the only sector of the economy in which 100 million Nigerians can participate.
The visiting officials led by Bukar Tijani, former Minister of State for Agriculture and Deputy Director General FAO, interacted with farmers in Maiduguri, Borno State. In Maiduguri, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Moving on to business. Now back to Yolayinka Ojo for reports from the financial sector.
Welcome to Business News. Addressing over 3,000 youth corps members who have been exposed to different entrepreneurial skills to prepare them to reduce the quest for white-collar jobs after service, Coordinator NYSC FCT, Salah Abdul Razak, urged them to make use of all they have learned during their service year.
It is not when you have large sum of money to start that is what we are saying, even no matter how small. It is the commitment that we need.
The national electricity grid lost 2,591 megawatts due to gas shortage, land constraints, and low water level across 12 generation companies. Daily power generation statistics on Wednesday shows that the peak generation was 3,932 megawatts on 5th April, from which 87,244 megawatt-hour energy was sent out through the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to 11 distribution companies for supply to end users. The industry data also shows that 77 turbines were available and could have produced 6,887 megawatts if the dominant tripartite constraint of gas line and water level were addressed. However, 44 worked, producing 3,486 megawatts off peak, while 33 turbines were shut down. Before we go, a check at closing figures on the floor of Friday's stock markets. And that ends it on the business segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
Many thanks, Olayinka. An unfettered media is one of the criteria for any democracy to worth its salt. This position was put forward by presidential spokesman Femi Adesina while speaking at the 5th anniversary celebration and awards of the Verbatim magazine. Victor Azu reports.
The Verbatim magazine's 5th anniversary awards drew dignitaries from all walks of life who converged on Abuja to appreciate the efforts of publishers of the fortnightly publication. Speaking on the theme, Media, Democracy and the Challenge of Nation Building, the special advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, upholds the need for the media to be allowed to operate unhindered for democracy to thrive.
Democracy connotes openness, transparency, accountability, and freedom of speech, which must also be present in a clime where the media is unfettered.
These, to me, are sacred institutions. Institutions that enable us to develop positive attitude, values, morality, making human society ideally human.
Chairman of the occasion and Nigeria's former ambassador to Austria, Jerry Ogokwe, extolled the efforts of the media in keeping democratic institutions ticking across the world.
This is a profession that demands everything of you.
Awardees include the Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonnaya, who was represented, and Vice Chancellor of the Nasarawa State University, Professor Muhammad Mainoma. The editor-in-chief of the magazine, Topes Abebu, says passion for excellence has kept the team going these 5 years.
Journalism is good, and it is a commitment. If you don't have that as a spirit, as a watchword, you cannot. That's one of the things that is guiding us.
And then the cutting of the anniversary cake. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA. Turning to reports from other parts of the world. South Africa appears before the International Criminal Court of Justice, insists it did not have to arrest Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. Details of this and more with Obiageli Ugoke on News Across the Globe.
South Africa is insisting to International Criminal Court judges that it did not have to arrest Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir when he visited Johannesburg in 2015. At a hearing Friday, lawyers for South Africa said the court's founding treaty, the Rome Statute, does not oblige authorities to arrest heads of state of countries that are not members of the court, such as Sudan. The International Criminal Court's prosecutors have charged al-Bashir with genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes in Sudan's Darfur region. But the ICC has no police force of its own to arrest him. And in Gambia, Electoral Commission chairman says the party of new President Adama Barrow has won a majority of seats in parliament. Thursday's vote overcomes 2 decades of domination by the party of former leader Yahya Jammeh. It also assures that Barrow can move ahead with promised transitions toward greater freedoms. Independent electoral chairman Aliyu Momar called the vote free and fair. He said Barrow's United Democratic Party won 31 seats in the 53 seats of the National Assembly. Moving on, U.S. President Donald Trump has met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in his Florida resort for their first summit. He urged his counterparts for action on North Korea. The meeting was, however, overshadowed by U.S. airstrike on an airbase in Syria in response to a suspected chemical weapons attack. Obiageli Ugoke, NTA News.
Now talking sports. Nigeria squash vows to sustain development programs in 2017 as second edition of National Para Soccer League kicks off in Abuja. Kene Magbudike brings us details of these and more on Sports Update.
The Executive Board of Nigeria Squash Federation rose from its 2017 National Congress and Council meeting in Abuja Thursday with a resolve to sustain its developmental efforts of the sport in the calendar year, maintaining that grassroots development remains pivotal for the growth of the sport in the country.
Federations are meant for development of sports. So if you are not ready to develop sports, just give way.
President of Para-Soccer Federation of Nigeria, Ms. Baho Lawandidi, has again appealed for the inclusion of the sport in National Sports Festival as a way of further boosting the fortunes of the sport and athletes in the country and beyond. Lawandidi made the appeal in Abuja Thursday during the opening game of the second edition of the National League, in which defending champions Kano State in green jersey came from behind to beat their Nasarawa State counterparts by 4-1.
God has given us talent to invent a sport that will be used worldwide to rehabilitate people with disability.
The youth football team of the internally displaced persons camp, Durumi Abuja in green and orange bib, defeated their Area 1 counterparts by a lone goal in a game to commemorate the International Day of Sport for Development and Peace in Abuja Thursday. Organizers of the match encouraged both the government and individuals to harness youth energy through sports.
Our joy is the fact that we are creating happiness here, even tonight, to make sure that we celebrate Day of Sport.
In golf, world number 1 Dustin Johnson is not competing in the 2017 Augusta Masters, which teed off Thursday in the United States. 32-year-old Johnson